Hi, guys, and welcome back to Devoured. Today, we're going to be talking about really important topic. Today we're going to be talking about how we came out, our stories about how we became who we are, and yeah.
Okay, let me get into character so I can fucking eat. I'm Demi Lovato. Locked in.
Hey, can I take a picture with you?
Yeah. Okay, so this week's episode, I guess we're talking about our transition, our coming outs. Which ones? My first one's really simple. Yours, not so much. So we'll breeze over mine. As many of you may know, we do not align ourselves with the LGBTQ because Satan is within them.
Satan is with them. Yep.
We are only women of Jesus.
Mama Jesus. Yes. Lord and Savior.
The only man I will have intimacy for the rest of my life with is
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, JC and I go way back, since further than I can even remember. Since the dawn of time, him and I have been one. Except for the time that I was created from Adam's rib, but whatever. Okay, get to it.
No, I think we should talk about both of our coming outs because they're kind of correlate with one another, I think.
No, my coming out was literally some random Tuesday, I think. I was 12. My first coming out. And I was like, Mom, I like boys.
Right.
That's it. So she was like, I know. I support you. I love you. Life's going to be more challenging for you, obviously, because people don't like you.
Right. Mind you, guys, we're a little bit older. So, this happened way back when. This is before 2010. Yeah. Gay marriage wasn't even legal.
2008. 2008, when Obama got put in the office, is when I was like, I'm a fag. So, sorry, I'm gay. Anyways, so I came out when I was 12. It went really well, super easy. Nothing crazy happened. I think everyone knew, because if you look at baby pictures of me, bitch, I stan. Served. RuPaul's Drag Race took notes after me. But with that being said, yeah, I came out when I was 12, pretty much 8th grade on. Went to private schools, which was literally easier than going to public schools when it came to being openly gay. I don't think I ever mentioned it to anybody. I think it was just kind of a known thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was mine. Nothing crazy.
Cannot relate at all. My coming out first one was literally the craziest experience ever. It's a whole long story. It's very funny, and a lot of my friends have the story. So I'll start off with me and my sister here have a lot of trauma surrounding Thanksgiving, which will kind of be brought up when she talks about coming out as trans. But so Thanksgiving, I always knew. Did you always know that you were for me, I just always knew that I was into men. Personally,
I think that's the first surface scratch, I also think growing up trans was not a thing until the 2010s,
right?
2012, 2014, when it was Gigi Gorgeous and actual YouTubers coming out. So I think I knew about it. I just didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was you get a definition, but what does that even mean? And then it was once YouTubers and more popular social media people started coming out as trans and going through their journey and talking about it, did I fully understand that, oh, this is something I align more with than just being a homosexual.
A homosexual. Yes, 100%. No, I get that 100%. I didn't even know I literally did not even know that trans people were even a thing. Back, I grew up in Montana, tiny little town. I kind of knew that sometimes people would dress up, and stuff, but I never actually knew that was a
girl. I don't know
thing.
How I didn't know I was trans, because literally between 8th grade and my junior year of high school, every single year I dressed up as a cheerleader with a wig, with boobs, literally the full 9 yards for Halloween, the same costume 3 years in a row. Anyways.
I always knew taking back to the last episode where we were talking about our childhood crushes, and I told the little boy on the playground that I was in love with him. Yes, I always knew, but I guess I was in denial. I just didn't really know. And I think also like us coming out as gay, but then coming out as trans was like a whole nother like confusion thing, because it was like, who are we? You know what I mean? Like, really? Because I was actually forced out of the closet. Let's start there. By my grandmother. Hey, grandma, what's up?
Hey, Grandma, what's up? We love you.
Yeah, we love you. I really do. But yeah, there was definitely some like things like in high school that happened that I'm like, ooh, she into the men.
Don't be aloof. Tell them what it was.
Oh no, we're not talking about all that stuff. But I will say that like I did have some like I had like 2 girlfriends in high school, and I never really did anything with them. You know what I mean? Like it was very much like beard vibe. They didn't really know until I did know. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, regardless, so I went off to college when I was 18, and I'm not even joking you. Like the first day that I was in school, I did something with the guy. Not even joking you. It was like freshman orientation. I was a freaking hoe. This is actually a funny story. So I don't know how him and I met, like through mutual friends or whatever, but we lived in the same dorm, and we're all just like hanging out and whatnot, like just talking, getting to know each other. And there's like this dorm or like this like area that's like a living space.
Like a common room.
Common room. Thank you. So it's a common room. And like there's a whole bunch of like my friends. We're all talking, DTT. One by one, people start to leave. And then it's just like me and him. And like we're in this like common room. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And we were watching a movie. So we ended up falling asleep. And so we wake up and it's like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And homeboy literally just starts like fucking going to town on me. And I'm not really into that. Like, I'm more the person who likes to do that to other people.
A giver, not a receiver.
The other thing that was crazy is that this motherfucker was huge. Like, fucking.
It's
but then,
always that.
No, but then he didn't want me to, like, do anything with him. He wanted to just do everything to me, which brings back to the whole, like, I do like to be pleased, but, like, I don't want to just do that. You know what I mean? I like an equal give and take. So anyways, this guy does this. Mind you, he's a boyfriend back home. And so he texts me like the next day. And because the whole situation, like I just wasn't really like feeling it that much. So he texts me and he's like, hey, like, what are you doing today? And my cold ass was like, not you. And then he was like, wait, what? And then, yeah, long story short, I never talked to him again. Not really. Like, we were kind of friends, but like, it was just crazy because he also like broke up with his boyfriend, told me that he broke up with his boyfriend, and then was just like, hey, like, like trying to be with me. That's very like baby gay. You know what I mean?
It's also like once a cheater, always a cheater. You cheated on your boyfriend with me, then broke up with him, and you want to be with me? No. I'm good. I love how we're talking first coming out stories and you go straight to your first time ever experimenting with a boy and how you cheated on someone's boyfriend. You cheated on his boyfriend with him. And that was your like first thing with a man.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I knew.
Ugh, you stand to be that girl.
Yeah, I knew. But it was one of those things where I was just like, there was a huge age difference. Like I just, like he was like dating like like someone who was just like literally freshman in high school and we were freshmen in like college type beat or something like that. And I was like you met them when they were 13 type beat and you're 18. Like that's kind of weird. I don't know if I'm telling the truth, but he was younger. I just remember that. I think I did like a couple little like experimenting things, but I still did not have sex until like after I was forced out of the closet. So fun fact. So I think that he was like the only guy that I ever did anything with that like first like couple months. And then I went back home for Thanksgiving a couple days before, maybe like a week or so. I called my grandma and I told her that I was possibly not into girls. I never said that I was fully like gay or like into boys or like whatever. I was just like, I don't know. I'm just confused. Like, da 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 da. She took that as Christian's gay. So I go home and it's Thanksgiving Day, you guys. I like how you're just like sitting over there, just like silent. Like she's like, I've already heard the story 1,000 times.
Well, that, but I'm also like, I have no input because like you're just going on a tangent. I'm also because these conversations, like the first experimental things, is like a whole other episode. Because the amount of things I did before I decided to like actually be with a man was quite an array of things.
Okay, so anyways, I go home for Thanksgiving. It's me, my grandma, my parents, and I think we were gonna have like some other extended family come over. But before dinner was completely ready, my grandma was like, let's do a toast. So she raises her glass and does like one of those little ding 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 with like the glass and the knife. And she goes, Christian has something to say, like very dramatic. My grandma is a Gemini, just so you guys know. So she loves gossip and she loves just being extra and things like that. And so I was like, I'm so confused because I had not even like talked to her about, or like actually officially came out. So I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? And then she was like, well, if Christian's not going to say it, then I will. Christian's gay. And then I was just like, kind of like, what the fuck happened? Like, what the fuck? And then my mom literally looks directly at me and she goes, is this true? And I was like, I was that emoji. I was like, I don't know, you know? And so, needless to say, not needless to say, my mother then kind of canceled Thanksgiving, sent my grandma home, literally started yelling at me, saying the most obscene things that I'm not going to say on the pod, just because, you know, I respect my mother and I love her, and we just had a moment. But she was saying some things that were very rude. And
Triple cancer,
very dramatic, all about her. So she just like freaks out, starts calling me like every name that you would, you know, call a gay person. That's derogatory. And my dad's like freaking out, like, what are you doing? Like, that's our son, da da da, blah blah blah. Like, don't talk to them like that. And then so my mom decides, I go to sleep crying my eyes out at like 7 o'clock, have not eaten Thanksgiving dinner. Like, I'm fucking sobbing. And then my mom decides that she's going to take my car on a drive because she had like a little newspaper route in the morning. Why not take her car? I don't know. She takes my car and crashes it into a snow berm, which is a wall of snow. And my car literally had to get fixed. I don't know what all had to be done, but basically I did not have a car for the rest of my like first semester of school. And my mom kind of like came back and was like, well, now you don't have a car, so you can't go back to college. And I was like, you're literally crazy. I'm going to go back. And my dad ended up getting the car fixed, brought the car to me like in January. So yeah, like that was the whole thing. But then the next day, my mom was just like, I'm not mad that you're gay. I'm just mad that you didn't tell me first. And I was like, I never even like told my grandma. Like my grandma just like assumed, you know? So, and here we are. She assumed wrong. Anyways, that's basically the story. I love my mother. Don't get that.
I think the funny thing for me is I'm like, what a simple conversation to have. I'm not mad that you're gay. I'm mad or disappointed that you didn't tell me. Right? 10 seconds.
Right.
Maybe even like a 30-minute convo.
100%.
But instead, we're going to tear you to shreds at the dinner table with the rest of the family. And then pretty much cause a whole scene for the next day and a half.
Whole scene. Yeah.
Iconic. No. Your mom ate that up.
She did. Well, the fact that... And the freaking, like, car being, like, not totaled, but, like, freaking, it had to get some work done. I was like, really, girl? Really? And also, I'm like, how did you not know, though? You know what I mean? Like, my dad and my
girl,
grandma,
I
know.
example,
my dad and my grandma, they fucking knew since I was, like, 2. Everyone knew.
So that's our coming out story. Now let's get to the good shit, how we met. Obviously, we had our own separate coming out stories for being gay.
Right.
And then had, I guess, separate coming outs for us, like, identifying as trans. Right. But we did meet in between that, which I think skyrocketed who we are today.
100%.
So you can take it away.
Well,
tell them how we met.
Honestly, like right after my like whole coming out thing, like I think I was on like Grindr, and this was probably like springtime, summertime of like 2015. Which is crazy because wait, that means you were still in high school. Holy shit. Crazy.
Yeah, I was in my senior year.
And I went to Westminster, so we're like right next to each other. I've never made this connection until just now. Because you know it's like Grindr, they have like the radius about like how far you are. So anyways.
So we were like literally 5 minutes away from each other.
Literally. Mind you guys, like this is a app for the LGBTQ. I feel like back then though it was mostly for gay people. TBH. But,
everyone knows what Grindr is for.
Oh, hooking up. Yeah. So anyways, it's a hookup app. For those of you that don't know who's watching.
Let's hope you don't if you don't know what Grindr is.
So anyways, I messaged her and I said, we need to be best friends. Because I had never seen someone that looked like her ever in my entire life. Mind you, back then we were both little gay boys. She had...
We'll insert photos of what we look like because...
Jump scare. I mean, she looked great. Like, freaking had the platinum blonde hair. Her eyes were so green because her hair was platinum. Like, she was stunning. Maybe it was Facetune. I have fucking no idea. But
probably.
You know what I mean?
Did a lot of that back then.
A lot of that back then. Yeah, the Facetune blindness.
Scary boots.
Anyways, so I messaged her. Do you guys think she responded or no? Yeah, she didn't respond.
No, I did not.
I was just like, okay, cool.
I did open the message though.
Did you?
Did see it. Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's also because it's like one of those things like when you're on Grindr, you know, it's like us being who we are prior, even now, but like prior, it wasn't like for me, it was like when I get a compliment, I'm like, oh my God, thank you, you know, kind of vibes. But I also am like from a fellow bottom, like, what are you trying to do? Bump butts? And I know you were trying, like now, obviously, like after us meeting and like progressing our friendship, like we've talked about it since then. But I think like in that moment when you're on Grindr and someone else is like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you're like, ew, you fucking, you know.
Oh, literally.
I'm like, what are you, like, are you a bottom for a bottom? Like, is that what it is? You know, type vibe. Anyways, yeah, so I read it, didn't respond.
So a year later, I went to this party and I met this guy who was our mutual friend who we had a huge falling out with. That's the whole story. Rest in peace. Yes, they're still alive, but rest in peace. So anyways, I met them. I was the first. It's ironic. It's ironic because this person said that they made Kana into who they are. And I'm like, that's funny that you became a makeup artist after I was the one who ever put makeup on you, first person to ever put makeup on you. And you didn't want me to do it. I literally forced you to let me do your makeup. But it was honestly because I thought it was cute and I was honestly like kind of hitting on him back then. Ooh! So anyways, I went to a party. This guy asked me to go out the next day to a club that does not exist anymore in Salt Lake. And so we go to this club and I get there early, like maybe like 20 minutes before them. So I'm just like sitting there waiting, probably wearing my little like black hat. I had like a hat thing back then, honestly, because my hair looked fucking awful. I think I was wearing shorts. It was June 3rd, 2016. That is our little anniversary. So he walks in with Kana and then their friend. And so I'm just like sitting there and I like see Kana and I was like, wait a second. I know you. I messaged you literally a year ago. And this girl, side note, like professionally trained dancer, type beat, like literally grew up dancing all her life. I don't know why she's not famous on the TikToks for doing those little dances yet, but you know, whatever. So she's up in the club, busting a move. I was like, yes, girl. And then we start hanging out. Apparently she hated me, right?
Yes. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. I also think it's, I don't know. Yeah, I just wasn't feeling the vibes, I guess. Right. But yeah, we hung out at the club and then we all went to D's.
No, we went to Denny's. Yeah.
At like 2:00 in the morning after the club had closed.
You did.
And it was 6 of us, maybe?
Probably, yeah.
Me, you, Curtis, and then like 2
Some
girls.
other, yeah.
I think.
And a guy.
Yeah. I'm like still not feeling it. Like I'm like, this was a fun night, you know? But like I don't see really anything happening outside of this. Or the only times we're ever gonna hang out is if we end up happening at the same club or something like that. But yeah, I just wasn't feeling it.
I don't know what happened, but basically every single day after that day, for like 7 days, we hung out in a row every single day. And then I asked her if she wanted, because it was summer. I was like, do you want to come up to Montana? Because I was out of school. And she was like, yeah. So we went up to Montana for like a week, road trip there, had a great time. And like when Kana met my grandmother, the first thing that she said, we're in the car.
I'm in the back seat in the middle.
And I'm in the front.
And Grandma goes, "Are you still taking your acne medication?"
Mind you, I had like perfectly clear skin at that point.
And what did you say?
No, Grandma, I stopped taking that a long time ago.
What'd she say?
I can tell. She goes, oh, I can tell. Well, maybe you should. Something like that. I'm pretty sure it was, oh, I could tell.
And I was like cracking up in the back seat.
And my skin was literally perfect back. Like, I didn't have any acne. So I was like, what is she even talking about? Like, she's wild. But yeah, no, we had a really good time in Montana. It was super fun, great memories. But my grandma did say, she was like, I just can't imagine a life without you and Kana. Like, she's like, now that I met her, like everything makes sense now.
No, it's weird because it's crazy to think that you were like, oh yeah, that's like my best friend. Like, you're gonna be my best friend for life. Like, you knew. And I was just like, please God, no. And then we hung out for, I think, a few days after that before we went to Montana.
Yeah.
And literally have been inseparable since. And now we're on almost 9 years of friendship.
God. Crazy. How time flies. And honestly, like, we were, mind you, yes, we had the drama in the first couple episodes. Before that, we never did. It was always other people if anything happened.
Yeah, we have drama with other people.
But like, it was never between us.
Yeah. We've never really gotten in fights except for recently.
Yeah.
But I only count that like one, which is However, I do think that we've never had issues with each other. We've always been fine. Always had like a great relationship with each other. That's the problem though. Is every time we've had a third or had someone else join the group or like be friends with us, the dynamic switches when we are individually with them, like one-on-one. But I think when it's always both of us with them, they get jealous or
we know how to pick them.
Very weird and try to pin us against each other, which I think is so odd
weird
because we have been so close for so long that we literally tell each other everything. We know how each other ticks. So I like in our past friendships that we've had where we have had a third, we've always ended up having discussions with each other, like when we're alone, and then, you know, putting puzzle pieces together that, oh, someone's like, this person is trying to like demonize our relationship.
Right.
When it just is never going to be like that because of how close we are. Yeah. So I think we've weeded out a lot of third party friendships, but have always just been like practically platonic soulmates.
I do think that is really interesting though, that people think that they can insert themselves into like a relationship that's so close to, it's very rare. I mean, to have a friendship that is so like, we're very telepathic. We are very like one person, you know what I mean? But just in separate bodies. We've said that so many times. And a lot of people want to find that relationship, whether it be in a significant other or in a best friend. A lot of people don't have best friends like that. You know what I mean? But like, you got to be a best friend for yourself first.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Love yourself. Self-love, baby.
I just think that in relationships like that, especially friendships, like you cannot be controlling. You know what I mean? Like, you got to let them do whatever the fuck they want to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the case for a lot of people. Anyways, so that was us. That's how we met. We've been inseparable ever since. I'm sure we could talk way more about all the things in between, but let's bring it back to when you came out as trans.
I think it was a span of over like 2, maybe 3 years of me kind of just, I wouldn't say coming out as a trans, but more so experiencing or experimenting with how I like projected my outer aesthetic.
Right.
So I think
Same.
I started to dabble into like changing my hair color, wearing makeup, changing up the gender of clothes I was wearing.
Right.
So I think that kind of initiated my like thought process of like how I wanted to be viewed outwardly. So that happened, made a bunch of friendships. I think being friends with queer people who are also around our same age helped me, because I feel like growing up, my whole like going to private schools and stuff, it was just like cis straight people only.
Right.
So I think going into a scene or an environment that was predominantly open helped me navigate who I wanted to be moving forward. So I dabbled with that for a few years. I think I finally came out in 2018, 19.
Not 19.
I'm trying to hold on.
I think it would have been 18.
Yeah, so 2018 I think is when I first realized like, hey, this is something that I want to like move towards and invest more time in to see if this is truly what I want. So then I came out to, I guess you would have been the first person. Kind of. I don't think I ever told you though. I think I just started doing it. Right? I don't remember.
Well,
I do remember telling my mother one day before I like went to work, and I sobbed in the car. I pretty much was like, I'm trans, and she was like, the crazy thing is, she goes, do you remember me asking you? And I was like, yeah. She was like, I asked you when you were 14. Like 2 years after you came out as gay, she was like, I asked you if you were trans. And I had told her no. And I think at that time, being gay was already too much.
Right.
Like, I think that was, I'm like, it's already an obstacle in life. If I put another layer onto it, my life is going to suck.
Right.
I also think I was more in my people pleaser mode at the time, being young and naive, that I was, how's everyone else going to think about this? How's everyone going to perceive me moving forward? Is my relationships with other people going to change? Am I going to change drastically that I don't recognize myself or feel comfortable around the people that I've called closest friends or family of mine? And so I just was like, no, like instantly shut it down. And then when I came out in 2018, she had mentioned that to me, I was like, yeah, but told her pretty much what I just told you. And she was like, I obviously asked you because I knew, like I had a feeling that this wasn't it for you.
Right.
And so I pretty much just sobbed, felt better. It was weird because outwardly, like at my work and stuff like that, I was identifying as trans. But I think the hardest part for anyone who comes out ever in their life is like your family,
100%.
It's easy for me to come out and be like, oh, the people that I work with, I'm trans, because you'll be gone, or our relationship is only a limited amount of time, right?
Right.
If my family takes it the wrong way, then like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Right. Which we have like very like accepting family.
That's the thing.
Thankfully.
And I knew prior to mentioning it to my mom and my sister that coming out was going to be literally a breeze. It was going to be the same exact thing that I did when I came out as gay. And they were going to be fully supportive and do whatever it takes to help me achieve my most authentic self. But I think, yeah, it was one of the hardest moments of my life. I think navigating who I was for close family friends of ours that I've grown up with was the like peak pinnacle of the hardest part of my transition.
100%. Yeah.
I do believe that after starting my hormone replacement therapy and mentally going through it,
it was rough at first.
It was rough. Yes. I was all over the place mentally. My self-love was very, I wouldn't say low, but it wasn't what I normally am at. And I think it was also due to the drugs' effect on my body and the gender dysphoria I was having. I'm like, okay, well, I finally have mentioned that this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. This is the direction in which I want to go, but I'm not seeing it fast enough. Right. And so I think that kind of ate me alive. And then my mom pretty much outing me to our closest family friends that like grew up, like my mom's best friend's daughter was like my babysitter growing up. So like like an aunt, older sister kind of vibe to me. So I think outing me to them on Thanksgiving while being at their house was just like peak pinnacle, like disaster moment for me. I was like, I should be able to tell them what I want to tell them. I also think them bringing it up to me was like, it wasn't like my mom mentioning it,
Right.
you know, it was they came to me and were like, hey, so we heard, you know, and I think that's probably the scariest thing for anyone who's coming out or on the verge of coming out is someone else who you know you haven't told approaching you about something you're trying to keep on the low and not really mentioning it to them. And that was, it just endgame for me that day. Full breakdown, almost killed myself.
Yeah, I'm
literally
like,
wrote a letter.
Okay, let's talk about it. I'm like, we probably need to do like a, what's it called? Trigger warning. Yeah, so Thanksgiving that happened. I was there as well, and we were all playing this card game, and like I don't even think I knew that whole situation. I mean, maybe I did, but I just wasn't paying attention. But we're playing this card game, and I was like, "Girl, like play your cards," and she didn't want to because I don't know, she was taking forever, and so we got in a fight over this like card game, which is so us coded. Anyways, we drive home and like she's silent the entire time, like freaking, I don't know. You love giving me the silent treatment. Oh, yes, you do. But we get home and I think you went somewhere. Like,
No, I was with Sam.
and so, anyways, we get home. Da, da, da. She ends up hanging out with this guy that she was seeing, and I next day go to work. I come home from work. Homegirl has written a little off herself letter. She was going to take her life in my bathtub. I was going to come home to my girl in my bathtub. Luckily, that
full on Hannah Baker.
Full on like that. And I was just like, wow. Thankfully, that didn't happen. We're here to this day. But that just goes to show you those hormones will get you.
Yeah, I was definitely like mentally that night for the next like 2 days. I think I was just at my lowest point I've ever been in my life. Thank God I trekked through and, you know, said no to my inner thoughts because
literally. Oh my God. I literally would have been so pissed. If I walked in, I'm like, this bitch's ghost is gonna be haunting me this like for the rest of my life because I found her in my freaking tub.
However, I would have eaten that shit up.
Oh, you would have eaten it up. I would have been like, wow, you're a fucking bitch. Whatever. Just kidding. I would have been really sad. But so that happened. For those of you who don't know, when you start transitioning, you start doing hormone replacement therapy, and that can, you know, it used to be like everyone basically did the exact same thing. Like you did your testosterone blockers, and if you're transitioning to male to female, testosterone blockers, and then your estrogen, and then add progesterone later, and all the things. You can do shots, blah blah blah. So you were on a testosterone blocker, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that is what I feel really gets you mentally is losing the testosterone and then adding the estrogen in. Whereas when I started transitioning, this is like, it's different because when I went in, I already had pretty low testosterone. And so she was like, well, if we put you on like a testosterone blocker, it's just going to turn into estrogen anyways. So she kept me, I just have estrogen and testosterone, like just normal, you know? And so it's, I don't think that I personally went through the mental fuckery that a lot of trans women go through when they are on like testosterone blockers.
Yeah. Well, also, yeah, with the combination of all of the drugs at the time, I will say that when I first started my transition, my doctor was very adamant about letting me know, like, hey, your mental clarity and capacity for what you're about to put your like body through is probably going to be the hardest thing for you. And so she was like, your body and your mind are used to what you've gone through puberty-wise up until this point. You're practically going to backtrack now as an adult and go through puberty again in a completely different way.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, like that'll be fine. And she like gave me extra medication to, keep my mood up, and like always checks in every time we go in. It's very like, how's your mental health, And I don't think I prepared myself enough for how big of an impact it was going to have on me with the smallest things. I don't think any of it was really large, like crazy points in my life that I was like, oh my God, it was always the smallest things that would just like set me off.
Right.
And very like, yeah, I was just easily triggered.
Very much so.
Easily, like always crying. Like I could cry at literally anything. Was sad practically all the time, even when I was happy. And yeah, so I think once my body started to stabilize itself, after taking the hormones, and I started to get to a pretty consistent level, my mental health started to like even out. And so now I'm a lot better at controlling my outbursts or being able to navigate how I'm feeling and interacting with other people. Where at the time, like those first like 6 to 8 months, I think I was just year or 2 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially when my dosages would change with my doctor, it would like fluctuate and then level itself out. But for a while there, yeah, I was definitely on the rockers.
On the rockers, yes.
On the what's it called? MB, the mental breakdowns.
The MB, on the MB, yeah. So, segue into me coming out as trans. So the whole time, like obviously I was living with my sister, Bestie Boots, watching her go through all of this. And I was very much like, this is her thing. Like, I think it was very similar, like the way that I was like presenting myself, especially when I was dating, which I hate to be that girl that was like, yeah, I transitioned because I like want to be with like straight men. But that sounds so bad, right? But like the type of men that I was like hanging out with, we'll say that, were either straight or bi. And I was only with one gay person ever in my entire life. Like actually, like fully. Because majority of the time, like they weren't really into me. Like, a lot of gay guys are looking for more masculine people, for the most part. Anyways, especially back then. So I feel like it's so open nowadays, especially with these youngins. They're freaking into anything. Last year, what was it? I think it was like springtime. I just kept on having these thoughts. Oh yeah, sorry. Bringing it back to the type of men that I was like attracted to. I was always like dating like guys who identified as straight or like bi. The way I would present myself on dates, like I would always have to like full body shave. I would have to do the glam, like do the most. Like I was never seeing them without this, I'm type B. I'm bringing that makeup to like touch up before they wake up type B. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, it was just like this thing for me mentally. Actually, you know what too? Also, so if you guys don't know, I'm a makeup artist, been doing it for 10 years. And I was doing TikToks and stuff, and these 8-year-olds were roasting me to death about my tongue and my facial hair. So I got really fucked up about that. No, I'm totally fucking with you guys, but they did actually do that about my tongue. But when I was yes, I had a viral video because of my tongue. When I was doing those videos, like when I was looking at myself, I just hated the way I looked with facial hair. Like that was just like fucking me up. And so I think...
And so your literal thought was, I'm just going to become a woman.
Yeah.
Not facial hair removal, it's I'm going to become a woman.
Yeah, 100%. Well, no, so then I started getting facial hair removal. So that was I think that was like 6 or 7 months before it was 8 months before I started transitioning. So I started getting facial hair removal because I was like, I can't. I don't want to be on camera, like, looking this way. And I just wanted to be, like, clean, smooth, so I can do makeup all the time, just, like, whenever, so I can be more consistent. And so because of that, I took a huge step back from doing, like, my TikToks and all that stuff. And then somewhere in between, like, oh, that's a whole nother topic too. I was, like, transitioning like that for fucking years. Like, on and off. Like, I would literally, like, go on, like,
your Tinder that's like, I'm a trans woman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. It wasn't a lie. I was back then. Yeah, now it's not.
Then I was like, that's a man.
No, 100%. 100%.
And it's funny because we had conversations about, like, I was like, are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I'm just more like
what just androgynous, like, in
yeah.
between.
But I like, you're like, I identify as male, but, you know, call me whatever. Like, she, her, him, he, it.
Yes, which honestly, I still don't care about that to this day. A lot of people care about, like, the freaking, what's it called? He, she, yeah, whatever. I'm just like, I literally don't give a fuck. I lived majority of my life as a man. And if you knew me as that, like...
Honestly, the only thing we identify as is goddess. Empress.
Yeah, call me goddess. Oh, call me goddess and...
Seal the deal.
Seal the deal, 100%. But, like, obviously, like, as my, like, I, you know, develop more and become more woman, like, obviously I want more people to call me she because, like, I'm like, girl, I'm going to be walking around with, like, these big-ass knockers. You know what I mean? Like, they're already fucking getting up there, and I'm like... Anyways, what happened was, we lived at this different place at the time, and I saw on her... she has a calendar that was, like, for the whole, like, apartment, and on the calendar it had her doctor's name on it. So this is how I ended up finding our doctor.
Oh, so you went to the same doctor as me because of... I put it out in the world for you. Girl, I manifested that for you.
Literally,
you're welcome.
And she never changed it was, like, October for, like, fucking months. It was like, doctor something.
So because I didn't erase it, my sister was like, you know what, I think I am trans, I'm gonna start.
Yeah, so I looked them up. I call them up, do the whole appointments and everything, like, show up. So mind you, we only have so when you first start, you go to your thing, you get blood work done, you have a 3-month checkup, and then you have a 6-month checkup every 6 months for, like, the rest of your life, unless you need to go in there for some other things. And so we had completely different days that we were going, right? Mind you, hold on, backtrack. I did start, this was August 1st was my first day that I started hormones, 2023. And then the first person that I told was Miss Chastity Yonka. Shout out, Miss Chastity. But she actually guessed it. So I was like, hey, I have to go pick up these pills. Do you want to come on lunch with me? We're going to go to Target and then we'll get, like, Mobetas. And then she literally goes, are you transitioning? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't tell anybody about this. And she was like, she just knew. And I was like, yeah. So Chastity was the first person that I told. And then there was, like, a couple friends at work that I told. I did not tell my sister, like, she told me. I literally waited months because I was thinking that she would think that I thought she was going to notice, like, yeah, you're, like, developing boobs. Or, like...
Okay, stop there. Here's the thing. She thought that. Meanwhile, I thought girls gaining weight. Like, I was like, oh, she's just getting fat. Like, she's, you know, either going out too much at work, which you were. So I think for me, it wasn't, my first thought wasn't trans because we had those conversations already, you know, and it had never been, like, a thing. So I was just like, I'm the trans one, you're the gay one. And so I just, like, it never crossed my mind. I literally was just like, she's gaining weight. And, like, good for her. Like, if she's healthy and she enjoys that, then, like, you know, whatever.
Wow, she really was roasting me the whole time, being like, you're a fucking fat ass.
Oh, yeah, behind the cameras, once this is stop recording, like, you best believe.
Yeah, so anyways, what happens is I go in for my 3-month checkup, and she had gone to the doctors for some reason, which... I knew that she was going that day, but she went, like, an hour before, and normally our visits are, like, 15 to 20 minutes. Like, it's not that long.
If you're lucky. sometimes in the, like, you know, if you go to the doctor, you can be waiting in that waiting room for like a 45 to an hour, and then the actual visit with the doctor is like 10 to 15 minutes, you know, so you're like there for an hour and a half, but you've been sitting in the lobby for an hour.
That's never happened with me there, but I did with you. But for some reasons, she was having like some insurance things, some stupid stuff, and so I thought that she was going to be gone by then. I walk into the freaking doctor's office, open the door, and who do I see sitting right there?
Mind you, I'm literally, if this is me in the chair, right, the like counter to the nurses is like right here. The door is right here, like right on my right. And so I'm just sitting here, right, on my phone, scrolling, like waiting, blah, 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 blah. And I hear literal 2 words.
No. What happens is I open the door, and then I first went in and I went like this on your shoulder. So I didn't even say anything. I just like looked down and I was like, oh my God, that's my fucking sister. Oh my God, I haven't told her that I'm fucking trans yet. Oh my God, this is the moment. Fuck. So what happened was I actually just took my nails and I went on your shoulder. And then you like turn around and then you're like, what the fuck are you doing here? That's what happened. I didn't say anything. And then, so she's like, so she looks over and then she was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And then the people at the counter go, Christian, welcome back. How are you doing?
And I'm literally going through like multiple realities at the same time. I'm literally thrown for a loop, different dimensions, 13th reason. Like, I was trying to put puzzle pieces together in my head because obviously going back to us like having those conversations and things like that, none of this had ever crossed my mind, not once. So I'm now backtracking. I'm like, what do you mean see you again? Like, wait, what? So I'm like, wait, how long is this? You know, like I'm going over it all in my head in the span of this. A 1,000 years had passed by. In the moment I looked at her, looked at the nurses at the counter, and was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? My nurses, what do you mean? Know you? Why would they know you?
Right.
Type energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and then she gets up and she was like, "Oh my God, this is my sister! Oh my God, we've been best friends for da 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 da." And then she like looks at me. She goes, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." She's like, "Oh my God!" Like da 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 da, like kind of like crying, but like not really. And then she like looks over at me and she goes, "You'll never be as pretty as me." She denies that she says that all the time. She's like, "I never said that. I never said." I'm like, "Yes, you did, girl. Yes, you did."
Well, I was like, why would you keep it from me? One.
Oh,
Especially,
then she was like that
was,
too.
Like, my biggest thing is same with your mama. Why the fuck would you not tell us? The people who are closest to you, 1 and 2. I'm like, girl, I'm trans, so like, why wouldn't you tell the other trans person you're living with and have been friends with for literally like what?
I think it's
4,
because
5, 6 years at that point.
it was for multiple reasons. I wanted you to one just figure it out because I was just like, changing, thinking that I'm fat. No, literally. But then the other part of it too was the fact that for so many years I was like, that's your thing, that's your thing. You know what I mean?
Also think
and
you
so
were
I was just like
all the time too. So I never thought of it as like you're fully taking the step. I thought like you had always been like androgynous. So I was just like, you're never gonna do the drugs.
Yeah, and here we are a year later doing the drugs. And then I don't think I told my mom after you though. Fun fact.
I know.
So I told you, and then I told my mom when I went back home for like a holiday or something. They took it really like nice, and it was very easy because Kana had already like done that, and she, my mom's known Kana for years, as after she transitioned, and so like I was like, how Kana's Kana, like I'm that now, basically. That's kind of how I came out to her. I was like, yeah, I'm trans, da da da, and she
Always
was just
wanting to
like,
be me.
oh. Right. So anyways, that was like very easy. I did not tell my grandma for over a year because bringing it back to your conversation about how like just like people, if I had told my grandma when I first came out, the entire world would have known before I even got to work. Like, that girl has got a mouth and it moves fast. That girl got a mouth and it
Twitter does not have anything on her.
Twitter does not. Yeah, X does not have anything on my
Sorry.
grandma. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I don't align with that.
I don't align with that either. Twitter. So, yeah, my grandma, she moves fast with words. I finally told her like a year later. And it was funny because she goes, my uncle, Sal, was like, is Christian trying to be a girl? Like, like, was just confused because I hadn't told them, like, that I was, you know, transitioning. But they were seeing my videos on, like, Instagram and stuff. And
my favorite part, not telling your, like, distant relatives.
Yeah.
You're like, you'll just figure it out.
Yeah.
I think there are things that I'm like, I don't need to tell you because you aren't in my day-to-day life.
That part.
You know?
Yeah.
The only reason you'll find out is just like everyone else through videos or posts or whatever.
OnlyFans. Yeah. Yeah, I told my grandma like a couple days after she had told me that my Uncle Sal had said that. And I was like, oh, by the way, I completely forgot. I just forgot to tell her too. Like, I just went so long that I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, by the way. And she goes, I knew it. That was basically it. That's our little story about.
I've been a leader.
You are a leader.
Through everything.
She's a number one numerology wise, which is a leader.
Anyways, that's our coming out story.
Much. That's our coming out stories. I'm gonna go through my messages real quick and just make sure that we didn't miss anything. I feel like for like when you first start coming out, or like when you come out as trans or whatever, like it feels like a process of just like always coming out, you know?
Yeah.
With people.
Yeah.
Like even to this day, like it's just like I'm still like having to like, oh, by the way, you know, or even with new people, you know, that you meet. It's just
I don't think I tell anyone really. Like I'm very open about it in general. If you ask me, I will tell you about it. I'm also,
I feel like you're just fish enough too that it's just like everyone just always calls you she.
I think it's also like it's on my socials. I'm very upfront. Like it's in my bios on literally everything. It's hard to miss. If you don't know, I'm very like you could find out. You know what I mean? So yes and no. It really is like such a small part of who we are. As anyone who is trans knows, like it's a lot in who we are as beings, but it doesn't make up who I am as a person, right? And so I think for me, I don't come out to people like I'm not like, hey, my name's Kana, I'm a trans woman, and I'm 28. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't summarize who I am as a person.
100%. I think that also is why we don't really identify with like LGBTQ, like like I mean we do, but like not to the point where it's like
I'm not waving a flag or anything around because I'm like me being who I am is already a target on my back. I don't need to outwardly express it,
especially in this day and age.
I don't need to express it on my car. I don't need to express it on like a bumper sticker or anything because the people who know me know me. The people who don't need to know that because that's not entirely who I am. It's like 20%.
100%. Yeah. Really. And I think that us being like that is so like honestly what the world needs to see and like beneficial to society because like you can just be you. You know what I mean? You don't have to be like out there and just be like in everyone's faces. The people who are some of the biggest like trans icons, you know, or not, I don't even fucking want to say icons. Trans people in the media are like the worst. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the worst
representation.
Thank you. The worst representation
of trans people. And it's not even just trans women, though they are more predominantly in the eye than trans men, and a lot more clockable, I guess, than trans men. Like
oh my god, yeah, the testosterone on those trans men, they're fucking working overtime.
And that shit's good.
That shit's
I'm like,
good.
where the fuck is that level for estrogen? Because
100%.
I need that to like fish me up to Emma Ellingson. You know what I mean?
100%.
But yes, no, I don't. I think, yeah, like you have. I wouldn't
No, just name the names. Just say
Lily
them.
Tino, and you have like Dylan Mulvaney.
Mm-hmm.
Where like sometimes I'm like, there are things that I will support about other trans women because we are trans women.
Right.
And there are times where I just don't agree with things you say. I don't agree with the way you handle yourself in public. I don't agree with the way that you talk about yourself to others, talk about other trans women to others. How you want to represent our community is just very low, like lacks class.
Lacks class.
And so I think for me, it's never about going, like, outing or telling people that I'm trans, because what I think most people come across on their day-to-day when it comes to scrolling or social media or things like that, they have this preconceived idea of what trans people are and what trans people are like. And so for me, I don't want to give that put that foot forward, because I don't want that to be the first foot you see. I want it to be how I treat other people, how much I love animals and I feed squirrels and I love children and I enjoy art and being creative, and I want it to be aspects of myself that make my soul happy, not just what my body looks like.
Right. Unfortunately, that is the world that we live in.
I know.
It's the first thing that people see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like
If
associate you with. You know what I mean?
Yes. But I like to give them the opportunity as well as myself to learn about me. If you're not willing to do that and the only thing you want to know is about me being trans, you're not someone I want in my life. Like if I meet you and that's like you can't get around it, like it's so fascinating to you.
Oh, get the fuck out.
My trans life and my trans journey. You don't really care about me. You don't want to know about me. You don't see me as a human being. Like, next. So, yeah.
Side note, going back to the whole, like, whatever Lily Tony type thing, but, like, I think it's, like, absolutely ridiculous getting mad at people who, like, misgender you when they don't know you. If you tell them and then you're like, hey, I'm she, her, and then they keep on doing it, then you might have a problem, you know what I mean? But, like, or then you do have a problem. But, like, if they do it from the get-go and they don't even fucking know, and then you're like, they freak out about it, I'm like, that's, no.
I have a different thought process on that, but I will plead the fifth on this comment because I want to know. Do not want to be canceled. But I'm like, I can't. I'm a trans woman. So, like,
Why? Why don't we want to talk about it?
If you look, talk, and eat the way you do, if you, like, my thing is if you're gonna do something, do it fully. If you want to be perceived a certain type of way, you gotta put up the front. And that doesn't even come to with being trans. Like, that comes with anything. Like, if you want to be a professional baseball player.
Ballerina. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be the best fucking baseball player there is.
100%.
Else no one's gonna see you like that. So, for me, it's...
That part...
Sorry.
No, I get that.
Like, and from a trans woman who supports other trans women, I support everyone to do their own thing. But once you start making all of us look bad because of your poor choices, also being rude to waitstaff, like, girl, bye.
Oh, that part too.
And for what? Like, I'm just doing a job. Like, I'm so sorry. But, you know, at the end of the day, you are what you give out. It's also very aggressive, which is a very masculine trait to have, the way she interacts with people who do act like that. Like, I would never, not saying that like makes me more feminine or anything.
It's just tasteful. It's tact. Yeah. It's like, treat people how do you want to be yelled at every single time that you do something wrong?
But I'm also like, that's how this is everyone's first impression of you. People who don't know you, this is their first impression. Like, I wouldn't want my first impression to be me flipping out on people because they misgender me.
Yeah.
I think people who also do get misgendered and take it, like, are incredibly defensive or combative, aren't secure with who they are as a trans person.
Right.
Like, sometimes it bothers me. Sometimes you can tell if someone did it by accident or if they're doing it as, like, a poignant tactic.
Oh, 100%. You can tell.
You can tell.
That's a good topic.
That's when I get pissed. Is when I'm like, you're just literally doing it to get a rouse out of me. Oh, wow. You won't get one.
No, you will not get one.
And I think it's also because it's one of those things where I'm like, you can say whatever you want. I still know that I look at myself in the mirror and I go, puss. Facial card, lethal. You gotta dish what you want to get. Sorry.
Who are trans people in the media that you do look up to? Yeah, aspire to be.
Emma Ellingson.
Love her.
Literally obsessed with her.
Literally gorge.
Couldn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, I would
say back in the day.
Back in the day,
Nikita
Gigi.
Dragon.
Oh, Nikita. Oh, back in the day,
Nikita
Nikita.
Dragon.
Back in the day, Gigi Gorgeous. I love La Demi. Like,
La
she's
Demi.
so funny.
There are a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head. I know Angela something, but I don't remember her. Like, Angela Vanity. Do love that girl, too. Oh, Eden the Doll.
Eden. Yes. She's done, too.
Or Alina Evangelista, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Absolutely.
I love them.
The girls
that like helped me realize that, oh, like they started their transition earlier.
Right.
And so then I'm like, oh, like they were the girls that paved the way for me to realize that I also felt that way.
Yeah.
Obviously Gigi Gorgeous, because we already talked about her. So her multiple coming outs, I love her.
Love it. Oh, 100%.
God.
She is a chicken nugget. Matter of fact. Well, I know that's like Trisha's
Trisha
thing.
Paytas.
I know that's Trisha's thing, but like it's just funny because like, you know, anyways, this joke.
Oh, Carmen Carrera. Also,
oh, yes. It's done. That's like a whole nother topic, too. Like, when RuPaul didn't let trans people be on the show. And then, like, one day it was, like, okay. And now, like, everyone's freaking trans on the show. I'm just, like...
Crazy
how the times have changed. Yeah. And I get it, too, because, like, if you're getting surgeries to get, like, you know, to look more fish, and the whole point of being a drag queen is, like, how feminine you can look. And obviously, like, perform and stuff like that. Like, I can see how there would be, you know, disadvantages to people who are naturally born a male. Mm-hmm. But... and
aren't actively going through a transition.
But then if we take out the, like, okay, we're going to look fish, and, like, everyone's makeup's good. You know what I mean? On those shows nowadays. And, like, it's all about, like, the performance and the character and stuff like that, you know? How do you envision your life 5 to 10 years down the road as a trans person?
Oh, married with 6 kids.
That part.
I want a husband who will kiss me when I come home. That's what I miss most about being alive. The possibilities.
Damn, she said 5 to 10 years I'm going to be dead. That's what... where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years in the grave?
Do you know what that's from?
No.
Twilight.
Oh. What do you envision for the future of the trans community?
I think for my trans brothers and sisters, I hope that more acceptance comes our way when it comes to public spaces, openness when it comes to understanding and learning about who we are as people. I, on a serious note, do hope that sports becomes more accepted when it comes to trans people, especially trans women in general, because we are always the target. We should just be able to live. I think what I hope for our trans community is that we are worshipped, like other cultures worship third genders, and people look at us like we're gods.
Damn. I agree. Acceptance, safe spaces, open spaces.
I think I want people to listen more than they want to talk. I think people can, in no matter what the topic is, can understand and learn a lot if they just listen. Yeah, just hear each other out.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to the 3rd episode of Devoured. We will see you in the next episode. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, and
we'll see you in a week.
We will see you in the week.
We hope you had a happy holiday, and whatever you celebrate, we hope it was joyous, cheerful, and full of love. We will see you on New Year's in the year 2025, and hopefully with fresh kisses at midnight. Love you.
Love you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.